This is the Women of Wonder podcast, where we help women tap into their superpowers. Welcome to the Women of Wonder podcast. And today we have the absolutely divine Holysseus fly with us. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Callie.
So happy to have you here. And, someone that I was able to meet in person this year. Would love to hear your version of the story and really get to witness, you continuing to blossom in this creativity as a solo artist, and really looking forward to learning more about you and your journey and this fabulous woman standing in front of us today. So thank you for being here. We're so excited to have you.
Wow, Kai, that is so nice. I'm really grateful to chat to you and be part of this. You're doing some really cool things, so I really appreciate that you wanted to include me in it.
Absolutely. And one thing that we like to ask people to start things off is, if you had to choose one superpower that you feel the most excited and confident about, what would you say yours is?
Oh, something that I already have.
Yes.
Oh, because I was going to say, I'd love to fly.
Okay. I mean, future tense as well. So love to fly. That's a good one. Do you fly in your dreams?
Not as often as I'd like to. Do you?
I do. It used to be like running away from things though, and now it's more of a just enjoy flying around and getting to see things from a different perspective. So
that's amazing.
But I love it.
Is that one of your superpowers?
To fly? I mean, I was a high jumper in college, so I did jump over bars. So I guess not as many feet off the floor as my dreams allow me to, but I guess so. Go hand in hand.
That's pretty close.
Yes, exactly. So your superpower today?
I think my superpower today is that I am sort of willing to try new things that excite me just because.
Okay, well, I think we have to hear a little bit more about that. What are you trying these days?
I guess maybe I can divert this back to how we met. I feel like that felt for me like a real step in confidence moment, because I came to Mexico for the first time with this band called Ishmael Ensemble, and I just met this amazing woman at an airport for 10 minutes as we were getting off the flight. And this is not something I've ever done before, but I suddenly felt really confident and just I don't know, let's just go for it. Let's just grab life. And she sort of was looking at me on the plane, this woman, and she came over and she said, "Excuse me," in an American accent, which I'm not going to pretend to not going to. She was like, "Excuse me, are you going to Hotel El Ganzo for an artist residency?" And I was like, "Yes, how did you know?" And she's like, "No one flies here to Cabo with yellow hair." And I was like, "Really?" And I just loved her from the moment that we met. And we just walked off the plane together, got our bags and stuff, and we were in the queue, and I was just chatting to her, and I feel like I could, when you just meet someone and you just feel this instant connection, and I feel like I could feel her heart in a way. And we had a really nice chat, and she just sort of, maybe she said it in passing, like, "Oh, while you're at your artist residency, why don't you come and visit? I'm like an hour and a half away, but why don't you come and say hey?" And I was like, "Yeah, okay, let's do that. What's your number?" And maybe she's a bit like, "Oh, this is my perspective anyway."
Yeah.
She maybe say the same, but and then I texted her the next day, and I was like, "Cool, okay, I'm gonna go." I know nothing about Mexico. I really don't know anything about it, and got this cab to her house, and then turned up, and then you were there as well. And then we met, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of nowhere in Mexico with these two amazing women. And I felt the same thing with you. I was just like, oh my gosh, this person is amazing. These two people are amazing. What is going on? What is my life? Um, and then we spent that 24 hours together and went to that party, and I shared my music with you, and you were so sweet and listening to me sharing, because I suddenly just really wanted to share with you these two strangers really that I just met in a different country. Um, but you really, like, both of you were so open and so sweet to me, and it was amazing to hear about your lives as well. I just feel like it was this transatlantic like connection, I guess, that I just was so excited by. But it felt so bold of me to have go and do this for 24 hours, and then go back. And yeah, the guys in the band who I was at the artist residency were like, who I was with, they were like, I can't believe you just did that. Like, they met her for like 10 minutes. Like, and I was like, I know, but I just knew. Um, and I think one of my New Year's resolutions last year was to just be a bit more ballsy and just to be a bit more like
Brilliant.
doing things that really excite me and scare me a little bit.
Well, that certainly checked a few boxes then, I'm sure. And I just loved the moment that I realized that you two had just met. And I thought you were, childhood friends and had known each other for years. Because
Yeah.
I had just met her. She was teaching a yoga class, and I was with my sister in Todos Santos, and she asked me to go to the beach and watch the sunset, and that was the easy part. And then I was going to go back to Cabo and stay by myself for the last few days after my sister went home, and she's like, "Why don't you just stay with me? My partner's away. Like, I would love to have you." And just like instantly knew, yes, like this is the moment to say yes, and the opportunity. And then yeah, the three of us getting to just go eat guacamole and wander around town and take pictures in front of beautiful floral bushes. It was perfect. It really was. It was
Well,
such a beautiful day.
totally. And I felt exactly the same. Like I felt you guys were like childhood friends, like you'd known each other, like you'd been living with her for like months or something. That's the feeling that I'd
Yeah.
had when I met both of you guys. It's amazing.
Yes, and an important reminder that, regardless of being strangers or not having known each other for long, you can drop into that space of connection. And like you said, like getting to share those intimate stories and intimate parts of ourselves that really do create that instant connection. So loved it.
It was really special. It was really, yeah, one of those moments that I'll always like cherish in my life, I think. Um, yeah, you both are amazing people. So it was awesome.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of ways that you receive and seek out inspiration as an artist. And I'd love to hear, what that evolution has been for you, especially now in your solo journey.
Receive inspiration. That's such a good question. Yeah, that's such a good question. I think I'm always inspired by women who do things outside of the box and take things into their own hands and do things in new ways. The first person that comes to mind, I guess, is this artist in the UK called Self Esteem, and she's just smashing down barriers. I feel she's sort of like connecting over the worlds of also like she's very much a pop music artist but also has a love of theatre, and she's combining them both. She's also like, I think she's like mid to late 30s and just been nominated for Best New Artist as part of the Brit Awards. Well, I think that happened last year,
Oh,
but like it's crazy that like you'd be actually that's a separate thing, that you'd be a best new artist when you'd actually been working in the industry for like 15 years. But anyway, she is just so bold in the things that she's saying, and she does not give an F about it, and singing things and saying things she really wants to say in a really authentic way. And when somebody is so authentic and unique, you can really feel how genuine it is. And I feel like that has really inspired me to want to share my voice and share my story in ways that I just would have been too afraid to. Really, before I got diagnosed with cancer in 2019, I think my inspirations then were more possibly. I spent a lot of time studying virtuosic musicians and still do at times, but music that really was complicated and complex for the sake of it, for the sake of being really a skillful thing. I guess more in the sort of jazz world, or what I perceived to be more complex, just to, I guess, like learn new skills and to be an excellent performer. And that was really, really great for me in so many ways. I spent so many hours alone in my room practicing, working on my craft, researching musicians, artists, their inspirations. I've had so much coaching in my life musically, and that's been really, really like important for my foundation of who I am as an artist. I guess like her learning those skills has enabled me to have more of a larger palette of colors, I guess, to
Right.
use in my music. But I think since after I got diagnosed with cancer and I went through that whole ordeal and the roller coaster of that whole thing and the ups and downs, I began to, yeah, I guess seek out how can I express myself in a way that's really unique to me rather than trying to sound like somebody else. I think that's the key thing for me that I realized I really wanted and needed to do for my heart and for my soul. And that's the very much the journey that I'm on at the moment, is telling and sharing things in the most authentic way, which can be really scary because at times you feel like it's cringy, but that's only because for me maybe it's actually more real and more authentic.
Right. Yeah, no, and I feel like that comes across. Like the first single that you played for me, it was like straight in the heart. And I just met you. I just heard some of your story, and the words and the music and the uniqueness of you just shone, however you said, shined all the way through. And your music videos and the way that you present yourself is so dynamic, so unique to you and what's in your heart and what you want to share. And thanks for sharing as well that, this time in your life, I think you were 25 when you were diagnosed with cancer, and really that being such a pivotal time for you in terms of healing, in terms of, just even looking at life and what it means to be alive. I'm curious, like for you, how that experience also has played into your story and what you want to share with the world.
Firstly, thank you so much for saying that nice stuff about my music and playing you Marigold. That was such
Yes.
a beautiful moment, and it means so much that it evoked stuff in you. It really, really did. It really means a lot for you to say that. Um, I guess like that whole experience. So yeah, it was 2019. I was 25. It was a few weeks after my 25th birthday, and it really did. It was the most earth-shattering thing that could have ever happened to me, I guess, and completely pulled the rug under my feet and changed everything completely. So I think the way it sort of changed, it completely changed my outlook on life, which I think has been a really, really positive thing. Obviously there's still traumas and things for me to work through that I will be needing to work through for the rest of my life. And I know that's normal, and it's not that I'm grateful to have had it at all, because for me, that's not helpful because it's an evil thing, it's an
Hmm.
evil disease. It's not, that's where that has to sit for me.
Yeah.
But it's more like what I can make from it and how I can build my life from it. And especially musically, I just had to reshape everything and learn to love myself as a person first before I was productive, before I made music, before I was an artist, because I think I put so much of my value of myself on what I made and how productive I was in the day. And although I still struggle with that sometimes, I really had to reshift everything and see the value in my life as a human being. And then it really wasn't for like I got diagnosed 2019. Yeah, it wasn't really until like 2 years afterwards that I felt able to, and it comes at different times for everybody who's been through something like that. It was about 2 years after that I began to feel okay with being able to express myself more about it within my music for me. I was really worried for ages that writing this debut EP that I've written, 6 tracks, uh, all about my processings of those following years after having had cancer, would then make cancer my identity as an artist. I was really afraid of that. And um, now I know that that's not the truth, and I can make up whatever identity I want for myself. But I think a lot of things like that was sort of holding me back a lot and looking for the reason why, and all of these things that I find really, really unhelpful, um, rather than, just sort of looking at it like that was terrible, that's awful, full stop.
Right.
What do I actually want to do with my life? What actually fills me with joy? What actually, um, how do I really want to live the rest of my life? And that's really exciting. And, what legacy do I want to leave? And I guess the legacy part has always been something that has really driven me, I think, with wanting to create the CP, with wanting to create this show that I'm creating, because I'm really just, yeah, the experience allowed me to shed some stuff that was holding me back. So I've completely forgotten the original question.
Yeah, no, but beautiful, like to take us on that journey. And I think within that, I'm curious, like how did you process and come out on the other side, releasing that need to hold on to an identity as a cancer survivor and opening yourself up to all these other parts of Holysseus Fly?
Ah, that's so nice. Just the way you talk is just so beautiful. It's like a poem. Um,
Hmm.
I have, how did I shed that? I think time was a really big one. Underrated time is. Um, I think I've had so much support in therapy. That's been really, really a massive thing for me. And I guess also as time has gone by, I have been able to fill my life with more things, because at that time, my entire life was centered around treatment for this
Right.
disease. And that was all my life was about for a year. And then recovering from that the following year and going into lockdown and stuff. And, lockdown, as helpful as it was in some ways, also, there was nothing to do. And I think I was quite ready after treatment to like go into something else, but the world had stopped. So uh it yeah, time, filling my life with other things, that's a massive
Yeah.
one. Therapy. I also had this vocal coach who's like completely changed my life. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Her name is Hannah Williams, okay? She has been sampled by Jay-Z, all right, on the 444 album,
Wow.
title track 444. That song uses basically like this huge sample of one of her tracks, and her voice is absolutely amazing. She is one of like the most exciting people I've ever met. in
How
the
did
end.
you meet her?
Oh my gosh, I love her story. Her band live in Bristol. So I
Okay, great.
sort of knew of her. And in lockdown, she decided to go on The Voice. Is in The Voice UK. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I think we have a voice in the US as well, or something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, she decided to go on it. And I decided to watch her on TV doing it. And she gave this performance that was absolutely outstanding. And she, in an interview, was saying how she does some vocal coaching. And I was like, wow, because I was so and this comes back into everything I've already said. She really took up space on the stage with her presence, and she was so authentic, gave absolutely no F's. Sorry, I don't know if I'm
Go for it.
like, she just walked on stage like barefoot and just gave it everything,
Wow.
bared her heart and soul to this audience, but also like people on TV. And it just completely, I was like, this person is so powerful, and this artistry is out of this world. Like, how do I step into my version of that, my version of boldness like that, like her? So I sent her a Facebook message, expecting her not to see it, be too busy because she's on the telly now. And I was like, oh hi Hannah, so you do vocal coaching, like I'd love some lessons. And I think just because of some mutual people we knew, she actually got back to me and said like, hello, I know exactly who you are. I've seen some of your jobs
Wow.
and I would absolutely love to coach you. And I was just like,
Oh, that is incredible. So special. So now you are preparing for a tour and an EP. Tell us about how that's been going and what you're creating.
oh my gosh, it's so fun. It's a lot of work because wow. Okay, so the EP is coming out on the 6th of November, which is really exciting.
Amazing.
And I'm releasing on this little Bristol label that is run by Ishmael Ensemble. And that's really exciting. And they're giving me some support. But because it's quite a small label, I'm sort of doing everything else. I'm doing most things, which is really great because it's a big learning process. I guess I've just never had this much to do that I really care about, which can sometimes like create some stressful vibes, but that's fine. And the show at the end of the month is basically, again, like all we've talked about, me trying to be my authentic self, trying to tell my story in a way that's like talking about my identity, being much more than cancer. And there's no time. I just really feel that there's no time for me to have this self-doubt. The previous self-doubt I used to have, there's no time for it anymore. I just want to do the things that I really dream of and make my dreams show, which is so extra. So I basically, I've got my songs in it, and I'm creating moments where there's super intimate parts, but also there's like a Swan Lake interlude where I turn into a swan.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Anyone in the UK, get your tickets. This is going to be special. Wow.
It's just really extra. It's a little bit it's just, yeah, I'm just trying to craft something that feels like me and all the parts of me. And embracing that. And I guess I want people to leave feeling like if I can do it, so can you. Like anything's possible. Yeah.
Well, I have to applaud you and celebrate this because I feel like that is the ultimate stepping forward in this journey and, really believing in yourself to not only release, but to be going on tour and getting to create something that feels so unique and you. So I'm so excited for you and what's ahead.
I really wish you could be there.
I know, I know. I mean, never say never.
Yeah.
It's a because you're Bristol, London, and where's the third one?
Manchester.
Manchester. Okay.
You ever
Any
been?
plans on? I have. I've been to all of those places.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I have to dance around the UK every once in a while. And
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
some stops. So maybe there's a way. I think that one of them is over the American Thanksgiving, so I'll have some time off too.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Any plans on bringing it over to the US or finding some other spots in the future?
I mean, yeah, I would love to. I just need a few more things in place for that to happen. A few people who want to support maybe to make that possible.
Amazing.
Yeah, would love that so much.
Well, what else would you like to share with the audience? Anything that comes to mind or that you're feeling particularly inspired by these days?
I think one of the people that has inspired me most in my entire life is really my mum. And
Hmm,
my mum is this incredible woman who I'd love for you to meet one day. I feel like that might happen. Um,
that would
she
be fantastic.
she's my rock. She is incredibly inspiring. She's in her like second or third career right now. But she's always been somebody that has tried to change things and tried to, I guess particularly as women, sometimes when we're growing up, we see that, oh, this is just the way things are. Like, how do I make that work for me? She's always very much been like, oh, why does it have to be that way? I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to do that. I want to do this and that, creating and just fighting those barriers down. She's always been somebody like that. Really, really inspiring person, really, really inspiring woman for me. And especially, I know in your podcast you talk to a lot of women in leadership, which is really exciting.
Yes.
um I listened, that interview you sent me, I listened to some of that. It was really awesome and inspiring. um I feel like my mum really feels that. My mum is an incredible leader, incredible woman in leadership, so kind and generous, and she's taught me so much about that. I still have so much to learn because I guess like being an artist, being an independent emerging artist as well, it's almost like growing a business, really. And I think thinking about that in that way isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think sometimes people, put music and business together. It's like it destroys the music. It doesn't. You have to make it
Yeah.
work to be able to be a musician, um, to be able to live off it.
Yeah, exactly. The practicalities of it. And like I think that, I come from the business world and now trying to organize myself in more of this like feminine archetype and be able to hold space for both is so critical because, the feminine essence of me is more of that creative side, the getting to play and come up with new ideas. And then that masculine side, which I believe that we all have in us is, be able to get from point A to point B. And, what do we need to do to get to that next stage? What do we need to do to launch this album, to launch this tour, to get to that next level of, spreading your music wide? And yeah, so I can appreciate that so much. And I think that's like women in leadership, those roles that people I really look up to. That's part of it. Like we have to play in this paradigm of, corporate America and around the world, people are trying to earn as much money as they possibly can. So doing that in a way that still has a lot of heart and soul and feels good is certainly something that I strive for. So I hear you. And yes, I would love to meet your mother. She sounds amazing. I just remember, I just remember
Oh yeah.
cell phone service, and that was where I was like, oh, they must be old. They must be old friends. We're getting the mom involved in coordination. So she'll be here any minute now. Yeah, that was a good day. A really good day. We'll have to have another one soon.
Yeah, totally. Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Who do you look up to as a woman in leadership? You-
Yeah. So I actually had someone ask me that a few years ago, and I couldn't think of anyone. Like I had not thought about it. And that was a bit of a wake up call for me to be like, why am I not looking up to people and, seeing them as someone that I want to emulate or be close to. And I think just having grown up in like the athletic world and the sales world, everything was like very male oriented and dominated, from coaches to managers to leaders. So it took me like time to actually really build my connection to women in leadership. And now I seek them out. So now I like want to find more of these women that, can also be mothers and, active community members. Nisha, who's my co-founder for Women of Wonder, is certainly someone that I met and didn't know someone like that could exist on the planet. And, I think from a friendship perspective to, a business partner perspective, so she's someone that I feel like I can share anything with, I can look up to, I can be inspired by, motivated by. But then, yeah, I think from artists to, yoga teachers to, leaders in business locally and on the wider scale, like I just see women showing up with like different qualities and a lot of what they call like the soft skills, like the empathy, the emotional intelligence, that I think we need more of in today's world. And a lot of leaders are being told that they need that. Like maybe 20 years ago, you could be a CEO, be an engineer, not really have a lot of people skills and still lead an organization. But it's not really possible these days with so many relationships that are key to building a successful company. So yeah, I think just for me, it's like opened up a giant door of seeing how many women are out there that are trying to build a new path, trying to do something with that heart and soul. A lot of really amazing women have come out. Well, more like come into my attention. They were always there, but I've allowed myself to pay a lot more attention to them. So thanks for asking.
No, that's really cool. That's really great to
Yeah.
hear. I love that you come from that world and then are seeking these things out. I think it's really cool and it's really interesting to hear your story within it too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is like just the beginning. Like we're at this like massive shift. There's a book called The Seven Deadly Sins on Our Best Behavior by Elise Lonan that she goes back and like looks at, greed and sloth and like all these sins that were, very much from a religious place, and women have absorbed them to the nth degree, like, not feeling like they can rest, like they always need to be busy, feeling like they need to be in competition with each other. So reading that, I actually started to realize like where I felt maybe a little bit more aware and advanced, but I'm certainly not. So like even her writing this book, she was noticing where she shows up in that way. So I think it's like allowing ourselves to take care, to rest, to support each other, to celebrate each other, to want to be in close proximity with other women that we value. Like for us, like with Women of Wonder, like that's a big part of why we're doing this and why we love sharing other women's stories too. Because I feel like we have so much to learn from each other, so much wisdom to share, and it's a lot more fun not doing it on your own. So yeah, yeah.
That's really cool. That's amazing.
Well, as we start to wrap up here, I think for all of our listeners, we'll make sure to link to your beautiful songs so they can hear your voice for themselves. We know you have the EP dropping on November 6th and tour dates across the UK in November as well. Anything else that you want people to know about you before we sign off today?
I guess just like talking about coming back to what you just said about women working together and stuff and the importance of that and seeking that. I guess I just want to shout out Bristol for that because there are a few things happening in Bristol that are absolutely incredible. There's this record label called Saffron Records, which is a female led record label that's developing artists, addressing the gender imbalances within the music industry. So women, non-binary and trans people, and also running workshops and just doing incredible things. And also I've just got into this football club as well, which I mentioned when we first started talking.
Yes.
And honestly, it's like there's this whole league within Bristol of just like women's casual football, women including non-binary and trans people. And I went to practice last night. I've been going for like a year. And honestly, it's just one of playing a team sport. I've never really, I mean, I did it a bit at school, but like playing a team sport with women who just really, working together in that way that's really quite like, sort of aggressive at times. It's really exciting. I just think I just feel like I guess what I just want to share is that working with women is just sometimes, well, actually just is the best thing ever. And I guess I definitely want to manifest even more of that in my life
Yes.
as
Yes.
things continue. But yeah, thank you so much for your work and opening up these spaces and sharing with people and lifting them up, because we need more of that. We need that across all cultures. So yeah, I really appreciate chatting with you today. And yeah, I hope we get to talk again soon.
Yes, me too. Well, Holysseus Fly, it's been an honor. So grateful for you, and we'll look forward to the next time. Thank you.
Carly.